I was waiting in the green room, waiting for me to let me in. I do worry about myself sometimes, probably more often than not. All right, so hello everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Monday morning if you're just getting up on that side of the US and having your cup of coffee or tea. Good afternoon, good evening if you're on my side of the world. I hope you are all well. Now, as I always do, I'm going to ask you to do me a very large favor, so I know that you can actually hear me and you're not just watching my lips moving. Can you just send me a message and just say, hi, Gigi, we can hear you. It's all good. That would be extremely helpful if you would do that for me, please. Say, hi, Gigi, I'm cool. I've had a great day. I've had a great weekend. I'm raring to go. Anything like that will do. There's always a delay as well, which is slightly awkward. See, this is the moment where I start to panic when I'm not seeing anything come through. Okay. Ahmad, I've just flipped over to YouTube and I can see it there. Yay. So we've got Ahmad, Fahad, Shalini. Hello. Welcome, welcome. We've got lots of people here today. This is so exciting. Vicky's here. Hey, Vicky. How you doing? Heart of the matter, excellent. Scott Patterson, awesome, lovely. So what I will say is, I don't know if you've been here before. If you have, you know that I have an eternal struggle with echo. I have a room that's like a rectangle shape and it is a female dog for echo. So I kind of bring in duvets and no one has any bedding on their beds, pillows, etc. But it never quite works. So what I've done is I've really turned down the input of my microphone to try and only capture my voice and nothing ambient. So if it's a bit quiet, that's why. Please just turn up the volume at your end of things. And then hopefully I'll hear on the playback whether I've achieved my goal of a crisper sound. So why don't we just, I'm sorry, do you know what? It's cold here in the UK. I have a cold. I'm pretty confident I don't have COVID, but I have a cold. So I'm just going to turn away from you because you don't want to see me wipe my nose. That's always a bit gross. So hang on a second. Sorry about this. There we go. Okay. Is that very professional? Do you watch other people on YouTube turning their back so they can wipe their noses? I don't know. Oh, well, we're all friends here. Right, so why don't we just get going? Let me introduce myself. I am Gigi and I am an ex-senior leader and bar raiser at Amazon. I worked there for quite a number of years. Now, if you've watched my channel, maybe you know this, but I will share it with you just in case. The difference between a bar raiser and why I feel I offer a level of insight that perhaps you can't get anywhere else is that a normal kind of manager or employee at Amazon does tons of interviewing. Everybody does tons of interviewing at Amazon, but usually you'll only interview kind of around your own job area and maybe to an adjacent team. If you are a recruiter, you're going to be maybe interviewing recruiters if you're filling your own team, or you will have your own specialist area. So recruiters will be very focused on a particular job family. Maybe they hire for finance, vendor managers, loss protection managers, software development engineers, solution designers, customer engagement managers, the list goes on and on, but they're very focused on a particular area. Bar raisers go everywhere. You interview across any job family in the organization. You tend to have a specialty, tech versus non-tech. My specialty was non-tech because I'm from a non-tech background, but you do on occasion, if needed, bar raise on tech roles. They're always great fun. And then you can interview anywhere in the world. So that's an amazing thing as well. So I've interviewed Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Turkey, Japan, Canada, the US, I think, and a few others. Anyway, to get a much broader perspective of the Amazon interview process, because there's actually not one process. I don't know how much you've seen from your research, but it kind of sounds like there would just be one purpose, one process that everybody goes through. People can have entirely different experiences going through the Amazon interview process. And it's only when you're exposed to all of that that you can really get that deep insight and give people multifaceted perspectives on it. And that's what I offer you. Whilst I was interviewing and bar raising at Amazon, I could tell the difference between those that had expert Amazon interview coaching and those that hadn't. They knew their stuff if they had, they knew the buzzwords, they knew what to avoid, the tricks and the trips. And then I, like a good Amazonian, got a little bit curious. Well, what does it cost? And I discovered it costs quite a lot to have Amazon interview coaching, particularly if you want to get your coaching from someone at an exec level or a bar raiser, someone with the amount of experience that I have. It's not cheap. And I kind of thought that was unfair and that I could use digital to try and make my type of expertise available to as many people as possible. So I started my YouTube channel whilst I was still at Amazon. And then when I left, I set up my own Amazon Interview Whiz Preparation Academy, where my courses are digital. So they are extremely affordable, at least for most of the people in the Western world. And then I also obviously have my YouTube channel, which I keep building, and I do these free sessions just to try and get myself out there as much as possible and give you access to me. I see I have a weak Wi-Fi signal. I hope it doesn't drop. Right, so that's what this session is all about. You're going to ask me your questions. If you write your questions in the comment section down the right-hand side, I will attempt to answer them. I reckon I can answer about 95% of the questions you'll ask. Sometimes you ask really specific questions about specific job families and the specific experience you will have in your interview process for that job family. And I'm afraid there are thousands of job families in Amazon, and no one human being, as good as I am, can know everything about all of them. So there might be a couple that I can't answer. Please don't ask me general questions. Hey, Gigi, I've got an interview tomorrow for a customer solutions specialist. What can I expect? Please go to my YouTube channel. Everything really that you need to know, at least generally, is there for you to pick through. Right, do stay until the end. I have an amazing giveaway, the best giveaway on YouTube for Amazon interview preparation. I am confident about that. So stay until the end and do not miss out on that. Right, let's get going. If I see some people I know, I'll just say hi. It's always nice to be nice, as my granny told me. Let's get going. So please do drop your questions in and we will get the pedal to the metal, as they say. Oh, Tom, you did your loop on Friday and you're waiting for the outcome. Oh, anticipation. I know it's shocking, isn't it? Wishing you the very best of luck, Tom. I know everybody else is. Oh, Seo's back. Seo is a success story from the Amazon Interview Whiz, and he's popped back in to say hello. Hey, Seo, you must have started by now. Let me know how it's going. Happy New Year to you as well, and thank you for coming back. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's see if we can get to some questions. I just got people popping in and saying hi. How adorable is that? Okay, I'm still going, looking for questions. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Let's just do this one for Akash. So you got an offer for an L5 business analyst. Congratulations and celebration. We want, yeah, okay. You're very, very welcome. You're stuck in a 2-month notice period versus 3 months notice period situation. Is this something that usually happens in Amazon? So, sorry, Akash, are you saying they're asking you to be there in 2 months when you've got a 3 months notice period? Is that what you're saying? Not sure. Please just qualify what you are. Oh, I think you've put it there. Hang on. Okay, right, hang on. Next one. Or is there an interest in Amazon to get a candidate on board as quickly, and hence the push? Right. So, Akash, yes, of course, they want you there as quickly as possible. It's probably taken interviewing many dozens, if not sometimes hundreds of candidates to get to an offer with somebody. So yes, they want you there as quickly as possible, but they're not going to withdraw your offer. No, they're very, very unlikely to withdraw your offer if you say to them, I'm sorry, I'm stuck with a 3 months notice period with my employer. I really want the job, but I'm contractually obliged to my current employer to work 3 months notice. I'm very confident that they're not going to say, well, in which case, Akash, never mind, forget it, we want to withdraw our offer. I think that's unlikely. So have a chat with your recruiter, let them know the situation. I would expect them to be understanding. What you can do, Akash, sometimes is if you've got any holiday that you still have, vacation, sorry. If you have any vacation time that you haven't yet used for your current employer, then if you want to join Amazon earlier, you could maybe see if you can stack up your vacation time with your current employer and use that. Your contractual start date, however, is obviously going to have to be after your contractual finish date with your old employer. So you might have to do some jiggery pokery with your recruiter to kind of come on board unofficially and do a little bit of a ramp up if they want you there a little bit earlier. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you at least some ideas. Oh, Ray's here. Hey, Ray. Lovely to see you. Okay. What else do we have? Okay. Hey, Shalini. So you've interviewed on the 11th of January and your interviewer said that she'll send feedback to HR and you didn't receive any updates still. Okay. So the 11th of January was, what day of the week was the 11th of January? Let me just get my little diary up, and it's just blocked you. Of course it's blocked you. Why would it not block you? Why would it not appear on my other screen? Because that would be way more helpful. Honestly. Okay, so the 11th of January was Tuesday. All right, so this is the maths, Jalini. Oh, you've got 2 days, right? So interview was the 11th. So Wednesday, that doesn't count as the 1 day. Wednesday the 12th, Thursday the 13th. So in theory, you should have heard back Thursday, Friday. It's Monday. I don't know where in the world you are, but it might be Monday morning where you are. So I wouldn't get overly concerned, Shalini. I have to be honest with you and tell you the SLA for 12 and 5 is so rarely being met these days. The fact that you haven't got feedback and you're 1 day over your SLA is not a cause for concern. So maybe give it another day, Shalini. And if you haven't heard anything, just ping your recruiter an email and just give them a prompt. I'm still super keen to progress my Amazon interview process. I'd love to get an update, please. And hopefully it will be good news for you. But don't panic, okay? Okay. Oh, Enzio. Oh, wow. This is my favorite bit. Not that I don't love dispensing advice. Of course, I love dispensing advice. But my favorite bit is when people come back and tell me that they've got jobs from my advice. So Enzio 548, you've managed to snaffle yourself an offer for an AWS account exec. You went through 5 YouTubers and my content was by far the best and most accurate. Yes, I would agree with you. Of course I would. I am so delighted for you. Congratulations. What an amazing way to start 2022. I wish you a fantastic Amazon career. I know you'll love it. Congrats. And thank you for saying I'm the best. Okay. Oh, okay. Fahad, yes, I can answer this. What happens in the background check? Do they contact previous employers? What's the extreme circumstances in which they won't offer an individual fails the checks? Okay, so a couple of different things will go into the background checks. Yes, they will definitely contact your previous employer, but you have to give them references. So you'd say, these are the people that I worked with in the past. They'll ask you probably for 3 to 4 from your previous employers. Give them those people's names. You should call those people in advance or email them. I'm such old school. Email them in advance and just let them know the role that you're going for and what some of the key leadership principles were. They won't understand leadership principles, but what the most important things are in the role, so that if they're asked, they can big you up a little bit in terms of those particular leadership principles. They will check with your previous employer that you were actually employed there. In many countries, I couldn't tell you the law in every single country around the world, but certainly in the UK and I think in the US this is different. In the UK and probably in Europe, your employer can't tell them the circumstances of your departure. I think in the US, although maybe some of you who are US based will correct me on this, I think in the US they are allowed to say if you left under less than exciting circumstances. But yes, they will speak to your employer and just check that you were actually employed there and the dates of your employment and your role there, etc. Make sure it all checks out against what you've said. If you have quoted qualifications on your resume and claim to have those qualifications, and those are the required qualifications for the role, basic qualifications, they will check those out. So if you've said that you have a master's degree in something, they will check out, do you have a master's degree in something? And if you don't, they will withdraw your offer. If that type of a fundamental fact doesn't check out, like your ex-employer says, no, they never worked here, or it turns out that you don't have a qualification that you said you do, they will withdraw an offer on that basis. Criminal record checks and all of those types of things. Again, if you have declared no criminal records or anything like that, and it turns out you do have a criminal record, under those circumstances, they will also withdraw an offer. But it's pretty remote that they will withdraw an offer, and it really only is in the circumstances where you have clearly misrepresented the facts of your employment, your criminal history, or your education. I hope that helps. Let's move on, see what else we have here. Oh, someone's got a question on comp. Okay, yeah, let's talk compensation. So you've got 2 questions on comp. Okay, one hasn't come up yet. If I get through loop, oh, your question number 2, it's 2-part. Okay. If you get through loop, should I request a quick call with the recruiter to discuss? No, your recruiter will discuss it with you. I mean, if you get through loop, they're going to extend you an offer anyway. So at which point the recruiter will call you to discuss it. Let me just check your question. Okay. What I suggest you do is actually speak to your recruiter before you go to loop about compensation. My philosophy is that you should talk to the recruiter as early on in the flow as you possibly can about the expectations around comp. The worst thing is, and I've heard it happen a couple of times, you make it all the way through to offer, put all of that effort into the interview process, all of that anxiety. Amazon puts all of that resource into interviewing. Everybody decides that you're right for the job. And then you get to the end and the offer that they make you is unsustainable in terms of the lifestyle that you want or your goal in terms of compensation. So I urge you, everybody, as high up the process as you can. I would usually say probably best after you've passed the first phone screen, because otherwise, it's a conversation about nothing really. But as soon as you've passed that first phone screen, talk comp. If you want to talk earlier, no problem about doing that, but do that. Okay. I love do. It's such a funny phrase, isn't it? Now you have a second part, Peter. You're interviewing for non-tech insights manager role, right? But struggling to find comp on the usual sites that I recommend. Is non-tech project program manager a good proxy? Oh, and you're in London. Okay. So if you're an insights manager, that's a marketing job function. So I think it's, if it's the type of insights manager that I think you're talking about, research insights, it's a marketing function. So I would actually suggest that you look at kind of, again, it depends what level. It'd be good to know the job title, but your best proxy is probably some kind of a marketing manager type defined role if you look on those different job sites. So yeah, that's what I would go for, as long as it is a kind of a marketing insights piece. Okay, and London-based, Principal Place, super cool. Shoreditch is absolutely kicking. So fingers crossed, it would be a great place to work. Okay, next question then. We're going to go back to Ahmad. Hello, Ahmad. I don't recognize your name, so if this is your first time here, welcome. Is it okay to have a cheat sheet handy during the interview with examples against each LP? If so, will it be taken negatively by interviewer in case of video interview? Okay, so sorry, I'm reading these out in case people choose to listen to this rather than watch it, which some people do. So is it okay to have a cheat sheet? Yes. So I do say to my candidates and in my coaching, and I do have a YouTube video about this one, so you can go and look at that in a bit more detail, that it is okay to use notes, but they really need to be very light notes, like bullet point notes. What you don't want to be doing in an interview is flicking through different bits of paper on your desk, because even if it's not a video interview, they will still hear the paper flicking around the place. So have some light notes, a little notebook with you, which is nicely bookmarked. Actually, I don't know if I'll be able to find it. Hang on a second. Woo. It's like Blue Peter. You probably don't know what Blue Peter is. If you don't know what Blue Peter is, go and have a look. Here's one I made earlier. YouTube, Blue Peter. Anyone from the UK will get this one. Okay, so this is my cheat book. This is the real one that I use for my Amazon interview. I still have it. And I have this little notebook and I have little tabs here to get me to where I need to get to as quickly as possible. And you say to your interviewer, just to let you know, I do have some very light notes here. I promise you they are just light bullet points. I won't be reading directly off it, but I might on occasion just need to glance down just to make sure that I'm on the right track or just to validate that I'm giving you the right data point. I hope that's okay. And in the overwhelming majority of cases, I am very confident that your interviewer will say, that's fine. I have only had in the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who, I think it's over 10,000 people who've watched that particular video. I've only ever had one person come back to me and say that their interviewer asked them to stop using notes. And I qualify, they were asked to stop. So although I did challenge them on were you reading them and they promised me they weren't, perhaps that they were looking down at those notes for a little bit too long. So statistically speaking, that would suggest that most interviewers will be absolutely fine with you using notes as long as you don't read off them and do not have a script. No scripts, people. Okie dokie, let's move on then. How are we doing for time? We are doing well. Right, so, we've got another offer. Oh, wonderful. Abhinav, hello. Oh, that's congratulations, Abhinav. Please, everybody congratulate the people who I'm calling up. Yep, makes me excited, makes me happy. So you're absolutely welcome. What did you get a role for? You received an offer for an SA, Solutions Architect. Awesome. And you've already started with AWS. Solution architect roles are just flying. I do so much one-to-one coaching with solutions architects at the moment. I think I could probably be a solutions architect at the end of this. I've learned so much from them. That's amazing. Congratulations. And again, I wish you the very, very best of luck. Have a fantastic Amazon career. I am certain you will. Okay, moving on then. Oh, okay, Vince. Yeah. Okay, cool, Vince. This is good because this is good context. Vince, you've definitely been here because I recognize that little image. What? I don't even know what it's called. Is it a thumbnail here? I don't know. Anyway, so you kind of got an offer. The original role was taken one day before the recruiter contacted you. Okay, but you were offered another role. You were told you don't need to do any interview, right? Next part, but need to talk to the hiring manager later this week as an information call. Is that normal? Any chance they might retract the offer at this point? Okay, so Vince, you don't have an offer per se, right? Until someone says to you, that is the job that we are giving you. If you want to take it, you don't have an offer. What you have, which is still good, is an inclined loop. You are pre-cleared for a role should a hiring manager feel that you are a good fit. And what you're now moving on to is a step called green lighting, where although you don't have to have a formal interview, you'll speak to the hiring manager who has an open role and they will have a conversation with you. It's up to them how they structure it. If they wanted to ask you leadership principle questions, they can. There's no rule against it. If they want to ask you to talk them through some key projects, or if they want to ask you to walk them through your resume, all of those things are valid. At the end of that, they have the right to say, actually, Vince isn't the person for me. It doesn't happen very often that they say no. To your question about is it normal, it's not the normal process flow, but as I said at the beginning of this there is really no normal process flow, right? It's very, very variable across different people's experiences. And I've had a number of my Amazon Interviewees Academy members have exactly this experience, and I've not had one of them come out of a green light meeting being not securing that job. So I think your chances are very, very good, but don't go into it laissez-faire, Vince. It is their prerogative if they don't feel that you're the right fit for them to decline to take you. So go into that meeting as if it was an interview. Okay, good luck. We all have our fingers crossed for you, I'm sure. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. Okay. Hey, Scott Peterson. Now you're doing the writing exercise for a principal CDA. Not sure I know exactly what a CDA is. There are lots of different acronyms out there. A PM, for example, can be many different things. So you say you typically craft writing based on the target audience with regards to the level of technical depth. What level is appropriate for the writing exercise? Scott, it depends on what writing exercise you're doing, because once again, the process isn't the same for everybody. If you're doing a writing exercise which is behavioral based, so there are two, which is, I think, tell me about the most innovative thing that you've done and why you think it's innovative. And I think the other one is tell me about a time where you took a big risk. I think that's the two that they do. If it's one of those, it's not about technical assessment. They're not asking you to write that paper to assess your technical competencies. That is a behavioral question, and they are trying to understand, can you write a narrative that is clear and coherent so that anybody reading your document who doesn't know your subject matter or your technical kind of level can follow your narrative. So, Scott, what I would say to you is, if you've not been asked to write a technical document, some people are asked to do technical writing, and if it's just that standard, you need to think about the meetings that you're likely to go into. Benchmark the meetings that you've gone into in the past for your historical roles, and think about the types of people that sit in those meetings, and write your doc and pitch that paper for the least technically competent person that you would have sat in meetings in the past. Because odds are, when you go into Amazon, you will have that broad range of people in your meetings, and the least technically competent person in that meeting is going to need to understand your paper. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. Moving on then. PT, you've got your loop coming up. Wish you the very, very best of luck. Oh, we got another success story. Jacopo, is that right? Jacopo, hopefully. Apologies if I murdered your name. Your mother will probably never forgive me, but Jacopo, you are more than welcome. You've got an internship. Okay. Oh, one of the interviewers even complimented you on your answers. There is definitely a lot to be said for adding I to the STAR method. I'm telling you, hundreds of hires, thousands of hours of interviewing at Amazon. I know what I'm talking about. So if you don't know, I'm going to direct you to my video, which is called the Hidden Amazon Leadership Principle. I think that's what I'm calling it at the moment. Go check that one out. There is a bend on the STAR model that I've created, which adds an I on the end of it, which is about improvement, and everybody loves it, particularly your interviewers, which is what it's all about. So well done, Jacopo. Congratulations. Enjoy your internship. I hope it turns into something more long-term for you. Okay, moving on. Okay. You just finished your final interviews. You must be exhausted. Lie down, put your feet up, have a cocktail or a cup of tea or coffee, whatever floats your boat, but breathe and relax. They still kept the job ad on. Yes. Do they compare candidates? No. Is there a reference check for a senior contributor role? Yes. If they reply to me, plus will they directly send me the offer? Yes. There you go. Nailed it. Nailed all of those questions. So what I'm going to linger on a little bit here is the point about, do they compare candidates? Sorry if you can hear crashing about. My husband is filling the dishwasher, I think. Woo, it's a miracle. My husband's filling the dishwasher. Don't tell him I said that. Right. The Amazon interview process is what I call a first past the post process, whereby candidates do not get compared. It's a conveyor belt of people coming into the process, working their way past CV review, then making it past first round, then making it past second round if there's a second round, then making it past loop. It's this constant conveyor belt. And basically, the first person who they believe raises the bar in terms of the job standard that they are comparing to gets the job. The difference between the Amazon interview process compared to most other companies' processes are, they're not trying to find the best candidate for the role. They're trying to find the candidate for the role who raises the bar against a clearly predefined standard, which is a very bit of a head mess, but a very, very different concept. So that is why they do not, in general, compare candidates. There are exceptional circumstances, which I'm not going to talk about now, but no, you have to compete against a standard, and you have to compete against everybody that's currently working in Amazon. You're not competing directly against the other applicants for the role. Okay, so I'm going to move on from that one now. Oh, Jacopo, that's so sweet. Oh, I'm glad you're finding it useful. I put 700 hours, I think, into creating the Amazon Interview Whiz Academy and all of my digital courses. Talk about insist on the highest standards. I think I made a rod for my own back with my Amazon Interview Whiz Academy. So 700 hours learning crazy new skills with Adobe that I never imagined I would ever know, but it's awesome. So thank you. Right. All right. Let's see what else we've got. Just scrolling down to the bottom. I want to make sure everybody gets a chance. Right. So, okay. Yeah, PT, this is a good question. It gets asked quite a lot, so I'm going to cover this off. You know, I said that we can use different examples from long-term projects. Good. Yes, you were paying attention. Is it counted as a repeat if you use two aspects of the same situation as an example? Okay, I think I understand what you're saying. So you're basically saying this isn't a long, big project. This is like a simple, not simple, but this is a single scenario. And I have a scenario where I feel that there are multiple leadership principles present in this. Is it considered a repeat? Yes. Simple. It is considered a repeat. But all repeats are not born equal. Some are more equal than others. That's a play on George Orwell, if you didn't know. So if you can tell the story really well, where you can really, really focus on the particular behaviors of the leadership principle that you want to tell that story for, and then you can tell it really, really well and really focusing on the particular leadership principles of for the other aspect of the story. Yes, it's a repeat, but it's still good quality because you've really, really talked about different elements. But it is a skill to be able to really, really reshape your story so that it's very clearly about a different leadership principle. So I do have an example of this in my interview preparation masterclass if you happen to be an Academy member. So yes, it is a repeat, but bear in mind that no one's writing black marks for repeats against your name, right? It's kind of a concept around trying to avoid repeating because you want to give as much breadth as possible. But no, there's no actual tick list that said, you know, black, repeat, black mark, repeat, black mark, anything like that. So yes, it's a repeat, but probably not too much of a problem as long as you can reshape really, really well. But as I always say, you don't want to do it too often if you can avoid it. Okay, moving on then. What else? I'm going to try and pick something else. I am going to start skipping a couple now because I want to make sure that different people get a chance to ask questions. Do keep the questions coming in. Oh, conscious of time. Right. Before I go on any further, I need to ask you to return the favor to me. So I put tons of effort into all of this, and trust me, I do it because I want to help. But in return, I would really appreciate some help from you. In order for my content to surface above those 4 others that somebody pointed out they've made their way through in terms of Amazon interviewing, I need you. I need you to comment on my videos. I need you to give me little thumbs ups. I need you to subscribe because they are all positive actions that the YouTube algorithm ingests and recognize that Gigi's content is better than those other Amazon interview preparation channels out there, some of them who have never even worked at Amazon, but we won't go into that. I need your help. So particularly now for this stream, I'm going to ask you to take a second out, go to the little thingy there and give it a thumbs up. Now, I used to sing a little song to give people a couple of seconds to do that, but that was just humiliating. So I decided that I would create something even more humiliating just to bide the time. So I'm going to do that now. Then play you a little video. Please do go and give us a thumbs up, and then we'll get back to the questions. Here we go.
Like the stream, oh like the stream, oh like the stream, oh like the stream, like the stream, oh like the stream, oh like the stream, I like the stream, oh like the stream, oh like the stream, oh like the stream, like the stream, oh like the stream, oh like the stream, like the stream now, like the stream now, like the stream now, like the stream now.
There we go then. Hopefully that amused you if you haven't seen it before, but if you've seen it before, you're probably sick of it. I do need to record some new ones. I apologize. I keep saying that to myself, but somehow I'm way too busy. But it takes a while to do all of the different vocals on that. The recording of the vocals is amusing. But yes, that is me singing, by the way, in case you weren't sure. And yes, that is my face, but I'm pretty sure you were sure about that. All right, so let's move on. What else? Okay. Oh, Peter, you're saying it's a product and customer insights manager. Yeah, use marketing as your reference, Peter, I think. Okay. Oh, here's a good one. Right. Alejandro, is there a difference between applying with a referral or not? There's a massive difference between applying with a referral, but let me be really clear about what a referral is. The Amazon has a referral process, right? And the referral process goes, you give your resume, CV, Alejandro, to your Amazon friend, your Amazonian friend. Your Amazonian friend submits your resume on your behalf into the system, right? That is the Amazon referral program. That is different from talking to an Amazonian and having them introduce you to a hiring manager or a recruiter and connecting you between the two, right? That is not the Amazon referral. I don't know what the best way to refer to it is, but these are two different things. So with the actual proper Amazon referral program, what happens is, because an Amazonian has submitted your resume on your behalf, they are effectively giving you their credibility and saying to the hiring manager, I believe that this person, based on my knowledge of them, is very likely to be a good fit for your role. What happens is your resume bypasses the recruiter, right? So the first step, which is the recruiter review of resumes, is bypassed completely. Your resume goes straight to the hiring manager. Your hiring manager is obliged to read your resume. Now, at that point, all of the benefit is gone, right? That's the only benefit of the Amazon referral process, which is to get your resume bypassing the recruiter and to the hiring manager. The hiring manager at that point has no obligation whatsoever to take you to interview. However, getting past the recruiter is still quite an advantage in terms of if you think how big that funnel is and how many people get filtered out at the recruiter filter stage. So that's the difference between the two. It's worth it. If you can find an Amazonian to give you their credibility and let you ride on their credentials as an Amazonian, then it's definitely worth doing. Okay. Moving on then. Right. Oh, Bruno. Oh, thank you so much. $5. Is that $5? It's got an R in front of it. I don't know what that means, but thank you so much for giving me a little gift there, Bruno. I am very grateful. So you're moving forward according to them. This is the final round. Can I tell you more about the background check and TrueScreen? I think I talked about it a little bit earlier on, Bruno. So really, it's about checking that you actually worked where you said you worked. You actually worked there in the dates that you said you worked there, that you were in the role that you said you worked, and that if you've made any declarations around your criminal record, about your education history and all of those things, that's what those 2 steps are all about checking out. Somebody asked a little bit earlier on, I haven't hovered on it, but someone asked a little bit earlier on, do they actually cross-reference the projects that you did when they do the referral? No, that would be super inefficient. So no, they don't check that every word you said in your interview is gospel. No. Okay, moving on then. What else do we have? Oh, we got another winner chicken dinner. Do we say it? Does anyone else in the world say that other than here in the UK? I don't know. Let me know. Okay, you got an offer from Amazon on Friday and you accepted it by email today. Yay! Oh, and you're an Academy member as well. So that is amazing. Not that I'm not delighted for everybody that gets an offer. Obviously I am. But if you're one of my Academy members, then I'm extra special delighted because my 700 hours is absolutely worthwhile. So super congratulations to you. And as I've said to everybody else, I wish you the best Amazon career. And I know you're going to learn so much. You're going to have a great time. Okay, what else do we have? Oh, we've still got about 15 minutes. So keep those questions coming. Let me just scroll back up and see if I've missed anything actually, seeing as I think we're getting close to the end of it. Okay, do this one. If they send you an offer, can you negotiate? And can I re-sign after background check and obtaining the work visa? Can you re-sign? I don't understand the re-sign. If they send you an offer, can you negotiate? Yes, absolutely, you can negotiate. I don't understand the point about re-signing after the background check. You only sign once. They make you an offer, you accept the offer. End of. And then if the background checks all go horribly wrong, it's at that point where Amazon will come back to you and say, look, we know we signed a deal with you, but you've misled us on this, that, and the other, and therefore we're going to rescind that offer. But that's incredibly rare. Okie dokie. Moving on then. This is, I think, the best question I have read from anyone. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Amazon's food? Now, hang on, Ellie. Do you mean in the actual buildings, well, like the catering in the buildings, or do you mean in Amazon Fresh and the food that Amazon sells to the consumer? I have to know which one of those you want before I can answer that question. I have an answer for both, but which one is it? I'm confused. Okay. Oh, you've got another question. All right, I'll answer this one, and then you have to tell me what you mean by the food. So does your response, do you have any offers, impact their decision? So yes, essentially. So if you are, I'll rephrase that. Yes and no. It impacts something, but not their decision. So Amazon doesn't care if somebody else has given you an offer, right? They don't care what somebody else's judgment is of your capabilities. You have to prove that you raise the bar in the, against the standard that Amazon is looking for. So tell them you have another offer. They don't really care in the sense of, will they make you an offer? Where it does make a difference is if they want to make you an offer, then the recruiter will come to the table and say, they have an offer with somebody else. If we're going to make them an offer, we're probably going to have to turn around this process pretty quickly. Then when it comes to negotiating, you have some leverage because you'll have an offer that you can then use as leverage when you talk to your recruiter about what they're potentially going to offer you. The other way having an offer in the bag is helpful to you in your Amazon process is it can maybe help grease the wheels in terms of speeding up the process. So if you're saying to your recruiter, I do have an offer, I have to get back to this organization by X date. So I know we've got one final step to go in terms of the loop. Can you please organize it in these next few days because I'm under pressure to let this other organization know? But it will not make any difference in terms of them deciding whether you raise the bar or not. They do not care whether another company thinks you're fabulous. Okay, moving on then. Ooh. Oh, Samesh. Hey, Samesh. Welcome back. Oh, and Kim's here as well. Oh, hi, Kim. It's like having friends over to my house. So these are all people that have either been here to the Amazon interview with, YouTube page. They're people that I've done one-to-one coaching with. They're people that are part of my academy. And man, it makes me excited to see you here. And if you are one of those people and I haven't happened to recognize your name, I'm sorry. Please don't be offended. I'm not great with remembering everybody. Hopefully I get quite a few people. Okay. Oh, Smash, I am really well. Thank you for asking. Busy, got exciting things on the horizon, but I'm really well. I hope you are too. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. Hey, Dan. So I've been watching my content for a while and it helped a ton. Oh, but unfortunately you didn't pass the loop. Why doesn't Amazon give any feedback? Okay. So I have a lot of sympathy for you, Dan. I know it sucks that you don't get any feedback. Let me explain to you why. It's twofold. The first is, and this is a little bit of mythology, internal mythology, but it rings very, very true to me. So the story goes internally that Amazon in the early days did used to give feedback. But at some point, one or maybe a couple of candidates got a little bit litigious. They didn't like the feedback that they heard and made claims in court about discrimination, that type of thing. So obviously Amazon's primary focus is to protect its shareholders. So they've got to avoid being taken to court. So if you don't provide feedback to candidates, you avoid being taken to court. Now, I know that's deeply unfair for the majority of candidates who would not imagine doing that. However, unfortunately, it only takes one or two to do it, and obviously the damage is done. So that's one of the reasons. The second reason, and I actually believe quite strongly in this reason, which is as an interviewer at Amazon, you have to feel comfortable that you can share back to the group exactly what you think, what your experience was, and your judgment on your candidate's responses. If you think or have a concern that there's a risk that your words will make their way back to the candidate, and quite often as a candidate, you'd probably be able to work out who it was that said that thing about you that you didn't like. Because we're all so available on social media, it would be very easy for a disgruntled candidate to hunt you down and make your life difficult in social media. You could probably, even if you worked hard, find out where somebody lives. So for the protection of the interviewers and to give them the freedom to say what needs to be said and what they really need to feed back to the organization, they choose not to provide feedback for candidates. Ultimately, of course, they're a customer obsessed organization and they consider you as the customer, as the candidate. However, their first responsibility is to their shareholders and their second responsibility is to the safety of their employees. And unfortunately, you're not going to qualify as an employee if you're a rejected candidate. So sadly, you don't get the feedback that perhaps you'd want. So I hope that helps. It doesn't make any difference, obviously. It's not going to get you that feedback, but maybe it takes the sting off a little bit. Okay. Moving on then. Hey, Marek. So, yes. Oh, sorry. Everybody else didn't read the first part of that. I did. Okay. So, Marek, you've got your loop on January the 25th for a SDM, yeah. And as I suggested, you ask the recruiter for a list of LPs and no reply. Okay. Do I suggest you politely write a follow-up and ask the same, or just leave it? I suggest you politely write a follow-up and ask again. Just because you didn't get a reply, it doesn't mean they've actively chosen not to reply to you. To be fair, they may not have even read your email. I probably had, when I was at Amazon, 4,500 unread emails in my inbox. So yeah, don't assume that they're not replying to you because they've read it and they're just ignoring you. Do politely try again. Now, I would say if you don't get a reply after the second attempt, chances are you're not getting a reply. So you're just wasting your energy trying to find that information, and you're better spent using your energy to actually deep dive into the job description yourself and try and identify those leadership principles. I can help you with that. Of course, I do provide a service for that, but it's always best to try and have a go at it yourself first. There are 2 videos on my YouTube channel that demonstrate me doing that live. Haven't done one of them for ages. Maybe I'll do one soon. I'll think about that. But go check out those videos as well. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly pick this one up. Kirthi, maybe. Do you get technical questions asked as a senior role, or would the technical questions be only in the online assessment in the technical round? I can't answer that because I have no idea what role you're talking about. Right, there are many, many different technical job families. So if you want to give me a little bit more specific information, I can try and see if I can answer that for you. Okay, moving on then, moving on. Yeah, we've got about 8 minutes left. So, okay. Okay, generally, how much can we negotiate up to? You're coming from a culture where you don't negotiate. Okay, so I can't tell you kind of the value that you can negotiate up to, obviously, because that depends on the actual kind of band that you're working to. So I can't tell you that I have looked at comprehensive data sets that show me what the original offers were and what people managed to top out in terms of the negotiation. So I can't give you specifics on that. What I would say to you is the best data points to use is to actually understand the market rate. So what are people in the role that you're applying for getting at the moment in the market, right? Then have a look at that data and tell yourself, well, what do I need? What do I want? And if what you need and what you want is near the end of that band, then that's what you need to go for. If what you need and what you want is somewhere a little bit lower and you might be willing to not push so hard to get to the top of the band, well, that's absolutely up to you. So I would say to you, find out what the band is. Find what the recruiter tells you the band is going to be kind of a little bit shrunk between what the actual band is and what the actual band is, and you know what it really is. I would usually plan for a buffer of about 25k either side, but that's a bit but there's no hard and fast rule. The best thing to do is work out what you want and fight for what you want, and don't worry about what is usually happens or what's usually acceptable. Don't mess your head with that. You just focus on what it is you want to get and go for that. I hope that helps. Oh. Okay, Paul's got something interesting here. I like it when people have little stories to tell. All right. Hey, Paul. Oh, and I can see you as well. I like it when I can see people because it makes you feel more real to me rather than just like disembodied concepts on the other side of my computer screen. So you're advised by an Amazonian to come and watch my videos. Yeah, I have lots of Amazonians who are my friends, love them. And people that I just meet over social media, they find my content and then they contact me and they're like, oh my God, I send people your way all the time. It's cool. Your story, you're approached by a hiring manager for a role that in his words doesn't exist at Amazon in this form. Interesting. Next one, I'm seeing how the story evolves. It's quite exciting. I applied and was put through the referral scheme. Okay, that was back early in October and you heard nothing since, but the application says under consideration. Any advice on what to do? Yes, Paul, I would go back to the hiring manager. because I bet you there is a whole bunch of stuff going on in the background where this hiring manager is trying to convince the business that they need this new role that doesn't exist. There's no job family for it. There's no key defined leveling guidelines or anything like that. And that's probably what they're working on. So just go back to the hiring manager and very politely say, it's been a while, just wanted to connect you. Wanted to understand where this whole thing was going. Be polite, but yes, I would definitely take some ownership of the situation. My guidance to everybody is own your own process. Don't be passive. Be polite, but don't be passive. I hope that helps in some way, Paul. Okay, moving on then. So we've got a few minutes left. Oh, we've only got a couple of minutes left and we've got loads of questions. So let me just see if there's anyone that hasn't asked any questions before. So I'm sorry if I skip you over. I don't mean to be rude. I am just trying to find someone. Oh, Ellie, right. You want to know the food in the building. Right. So the answer to that is it depends what building you're in. So the food that I had in Principal Place was really very palatable, quite enjoyable. The food that I had in Day One building in Seattle was gross, really awful. The food that I had when I was in, I can't remember the name, Brazil, that was it, Brazil. That's another Amazon building in Seattle, was even worse than Day One, actually. Even worse than Day One. And I never made it to India or Japan or anything like that. So I can always connect you to people around the world if you want to know what food's like in those buildings. But it's very, very variable is what I'll say. But the queues are often very long. So in the most places, because I was in London, I was in Principal Place, which is right next to an amazing food market. So it was just as quick for me to run out the door and go and get this amazing falafel or pizza or like barbecue or I'm getting hungry now. So I didn't eat it all that often, but it's very variable. Okay, so we're going to go for one more question. And then I'm going to give you the most amazing freebie. Do not leave before you get this freebie, or I tell you, you will regret it. Okay. I'm trying to find one that was for most people. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to answer this one because it's a really important principle that I want you all to know and pay very, very close attention to. All right. So drum roll. Anoop, thank you very much for asking the question. I'm going to answer it quite broadly, even though I appreciate you've asked it in the context of an SDE. So you have the bar raiser round probably this week. What do I suggest you prepare on quickly? Anoop, you should prepare everything the same as you prepared for every other round of your interviews. Okay? So please, everybody hear me when I say this to you. I was a bar raiser. I was trained by bar raisers. I trained other bar raisers. Okay? There is nothing special about how your bar raiser conducts their interview, what leadership principles they ask you, what questions they ask you, what they're looking for in your responses. There is nothing different to what everybody else on your interview panel or in your early phone screens is looking for. If anyone tells you differently, they're lying, and they're probably trying to make money out of your anxiety, because it's easy to make money out of people's anxieties, right? Nothing special. So do what you've been doing already throughout your loop and you will be fine. Okay. Oh, and if anybody sees anybody saying counter to what I say, please leave them a comment and tell them to come and speak to me. Because if there's anything that, am I allowed to swear on YouTube? If there's anything that pisses me off more, it is people misleading candidates and exploiting their anxieties. So there we go. Off my high horse now. Now, you need to go and grab this. Before you go anywhere after this session, you have to go to the Amazon InterviewWizAcademy.com. I always get that the wrong way around. I don't know why. There you will get my Customer Obsession Leadership Principle Masterclass totally free. Right? It will tell you everything you need to know about customer obsession. Every leadership principle has different facets, which is my way of teaching expertise in the leadership principles. I created it. It's unique to me. Nobody else teaches this way unless they stole it from me. And customer obsession has 4 facets. It's got the most facets of every leadership principle. I'll teach you all about that. I will also teach you kind of exactly what your interviewer is looking for in your customer obsession answer. And you'll also find a mock interview, me interviewing me, and you can see how it all comes together in an interview. I give it away completely free. I don't do any follow-up marketing. So seriously, there is just no good reason not to go and snaffle yourself this free masterclass. And pretty much 90% of you will get asked customer obsession at some point in your interview. So, don't cut off your nose to spite your face. Go get it. It's worth gold. And I promise I will not chase you. All right, so with that in mind, then it is now time for me to go and have my roast dinner that my husband has made me. And thank you so much for joining today. I really hope it was helpful for you. For those of you who came on to let me know that you got roles, bless your heart. It always gives me such a lift to know and hear from you. So thank you so much. For those of you with interviews coming up, I wish you the very best of luck. As always, you can always plop your questions. That's probably a gross word. I'm sorry about that. Pop your questions. No plopping, popping in the comment section in YouTube, and I'll probably get back to you within 24 hours or so. And I will be back again same time next week. So please do look after yourselves and your families, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.